let's find the missing parts of this triangle. Notice in this triangle that I have two sides. I've not been given an angle. So we will have to find an angle by using these two sides, A and C. Well, side A is 30.4. Side C, which is the hypotenuse, is 50.2. Now, I can choose to find either angle A or angle B. If I choose to find angle A first, what trig function involves side A and side C? Angle A has an opposite side, A, and the hypotenuse is C. As far as their relationship to angle A, it's opposite and the hypotenuse. So which trig function involves opposite and hypotenuse? That would be sine. So I'm going to set up a proportion. Sine A is equal to A over C. So I have sine of A is equal to 30.4 divided by 50.2. Now, we will not actually solve the proportion. Anytime you're missing an angle, the way you will have to put it in your calculator is for your calculator work. You will hit the second button and then you will hit sine. Okay? So really you're going to see this sine, second sine of 30.4 divided by 50.2. That's the way you will find an angle value. Okay? You will have to hit second sine. And then you will put in 30.4 divided by 50.2. And we will round that to the nearest tenths. So I end up with 37.27. So does this 2 need to stay a 2 or does this 2 need to become a 3? If it's 5 or greater on the right, the 2 becomes a 3. And I have a 7. So it's 37.3 degrees. So angle A is 37.3. Now, to find angle B, we know that angle A plus angle B plus angle C equals to 180 degrees. Once you find one angle, you can add the 37.3 plus 90 degrees, which is C, and subtract them from 180. So angle A is 37.3. I'm solving for angle B, and angle C has been 90 in these triangles that I've worked. So add 90 plus 37.3. You end up with 127.3 plus angle B equals to 180. Subtract 127.3 from both sides. You get angle B is equal to 52.7. Okay? So now we know that angle B is 52.7. Okay? And that's approximate because I have rounded both of these actually. When I rounded A, this is approximate, and then angle B's approximation as well. Okay? So we know that A is approximately 37.3 degrees, and I know that angle B is approximately 52.7 degrees. Now remember, you never solve for an unknown part of the triangle with an approximation because you may not get the exact decimal value that the Math Excel will accept. Okay? So now our question is, how are we going to find B? Well, without using angle A or angle B, I can't use a trig function. So now I do have, from the given of the problem, side A is 30.4 and side C is 50.2. Well, being that this is a right triangle, if you know two sides of a triangle and you're missing the third side, we can use Pythagorean theorem. So my advice to find side C is to use the Pythagorean theorem because we can't use a trig function to get the exact value that the Math Excel wants, because these two are approximations. So I'm going to set up the Pythagorean theorem of a squared plus b squared equals c squared to find side B. A is 30.4 squared plus b squared equals 2. Side C is 50.2 squared. Okay? So 30.4 times 30.4, if you multiply that on your calculator, you get 924.16 plus b squared is equal to 50.2 times 50.2. I get 2520.04. Subtract 924.16 from both sides. Subtracting 924 from both sides, you end up with b squared is equal to 1595.88. Okay? Now, how do we go from b squared to b? We take the square root of both sides. So b is equal to the square root of 1595.88. And if you punch that in on your calculator, you end up getting b is approximately, I get 39.948. Now, if we round that to 2 decimal places, does this 4 need to stay a 4, or does that 4 need to become a 5? Well, it needs to become a 5. And that is the exact value that you would want to put in the Math Excel, or it may not accept it. And that's the reason why I didn't use angle A's approximation and set up a trig use a trig function setting up a proportion, because angle A and angle B were approximated. So I went back and used Pythagorean theorem, and I found side B to be approximately 39.95.